Hello YouTube, welcome back to Assetto Corsa, and hello Twitch, and welcome to Assetto Corsa. Now, for those of you watching this on Twitch, if you're wondering why this is saying episode 131, it's because the previous 130 episodes are on YouTube. So if you want to go see those, please go check out my channel on YouTube and have a look. Today I'm going to be having a look and reviewing the Audi, hang on a minute, this is too loud in my head. That's better. Let's go again. I'm going to be reviewing the Audi Quattro S1 E2, which is a rally car, a Group B rally car, and in fact the final Group B rally car that Audi ever made after withdrawing in 1986 after the Portugal rally. But before I do that, I'm just going to quickly talk about the 1.12 changelog, which obviously brings this wonderful Audi and this Highland track in 4 different variants. But quickly, obviously we've got the Audi, we've got that. Anything interesting here that might be of any interest to anyone? Here we go. Online pit crew animation locations have been fixed. System apps regarding time races have been sorted out. Porsche 911R corrected the rims in 3D, the GT3R, various 3D improvements and fixes. The GT3 Cup car, skinnable triangle behind the doors, so that's something that's changed. New and updated V10 street and semi-slick tyres for all street cars. Now I've seen this and it is on all street cars. Updated V10 tyres for the hypercars, for DTM cars. Engine coast braking for street cars has been updated. Chassis balance and inertia for street cars has been updated. Also for DTM cars. Some of the prototype C and vintage GT and LMP cars have had some updates to the V10 tyres. So that's for the F40 S3, the 919, the 911 GT1, the McLaren F1 GTR, etc, etc. Updated V10 tyres for GT2 and GT3 cars. Updated V10 tyres, chassis and inertias for GT4. Single maker cup racing cars, so that's the 458 S3, the M235, the 500 Assetto Corsa, the Maserati Gran Turismo GT4, the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, the Cayman Club Sport GT4 and the GT3 Cup 2017. Bunch of updated tyres elsewhere as well, so loads and loads of stuff with that. Added a few bits of aerodynamics to change things to match real life a bit better. What else is there? Fixed some penalty detection, timed race management, result screen management. A track with 2 pits are now allowed, so that's kind of cool. And what else is there? GT3 AI crashing on Nordschleife, that's been fixed. And also graining is now reduced when driving in good temperature conditions. So there we go. Right, enough of that. Today I'm looking at this Audi. You're going to have to wait for the weekend, or yes, for the weekend, before you see the next episode of this, which is going to be having a look and reviewing the actual location here in the Highlands of Scotland. So we're going to have a look at that in the weekend. Anyway, Audi Sport 1 Quattro. Very, very important car. Very crazy car. First developed in 1981, I believe. Or at least raced in 1981. It was an Audi Quattro and it was really, really successful, you know, all-wheel drive, hence the Quattro system. But very, very quickly the competition figured out what Audi was doing, what the weak spots were of the Audi Quattro, and just basically overtook it. So what they needed to do, they needed to build some Group B cars. So we had this one. One of the biggest differences on this car is it's shorter. The Sport Quattro is shorter than the normal Quattro. So there you go, that happened in 1984, which is still not where this car comes in. But they did go ahead and address some of the shortcomings, better aerodynamics, so on and so forth. And it did a good job, but it was still struggling. Despite being easier to drive, despite being better. It just wasn't good enough at that time. You know, the previous Quattro was good enough to win a world championship, but this, it just didn't do everything it wanted to do. That being said, it did still win the 1984 world championship, winning 5 of the 12 rounds, but that's still not brilliant to Audi standards. So, as they were allowed to, they upgraded it. They upgraded it further up because Peugeot had built a T16, 205 T16 car, and that immediately, you know, beat the Audi Quattro. So they had to up their game even further. So they come up with this. So they evolved the Sport Quattro, the Group B Sport Quattro, and he came up with the E2, the Evolution 2. They created another 20 of these cars, and then they got this S1 E2, which was introduced at the 1000 Lakes Rally in August 1985. It looked dramatically different from the other Quattros, and as you can see, it had this scoop on the nose, and it had a large rear wing, and everything just looked a bit odd. So you had that. They moved the radiators, they moved the battery, and they moved other auxiliaries to the back of the car, so the car wasn't so front heavy. So, which was one of the big problems. I mean, still front heavy, as you can see. I am having a problem with that understeer, as I just had a bit of a bump there. It is still understeery because of the very, very heavy front of the car, but it was a lot more agile. The turbocharged 5-cylinder now produced over 500 bhp. Now this car is still coming. So this car went up to produce 540 bhp. So let's just go into the specifications of this car. The car actually straight 5, front engine, longitudinally mounted, aluminium, completely aluminium, alloy block and head. It was a 2.1 litre, turbocharged. I can't remember how many turbos it had. I think it was single turbo. a single turbo, producing 540 bhp at 7,500 rpm and 590-ish newton meters of torque at 5,500 rpm. Kevlar body, this was one of the things that they used to lighten it with a steel monocoque. Of course it was power assisted, ventilated disc all round. Now interestingly enough, this has a 5-speed manual gearbox. However, one of the versions of the car did have a, I think it was a 6-speed, I forgot what they called it. I think they called it power shift transmission, which is basically the predecessor to DSG gearboxes that Audis now have. So you know the DSG or the Porsche's PDK, it was a predecessor to that, and you had the power shift gearbox, which was basically sequential, and I think that was 6 gears. But this car in Assetto Corsa has 5 gears. It's a manual, and of course all-wheel drive Quattro with the special Quattro system. Weighs only 1,090 kilos, so for those of you in America, that's 2,400 pounds. Or for those of you who use pounds, I mean I can use pounds, so 2,400 pounds. And of course, like I said, it was shorter, but I'm not going to go into those specs because that doesn't really matter too much. 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds, and of course its major win was the 1985 San Remo Rally. So there you go. And at 1,000 Lakes, I think it came second, by the way. We were talking about 1,000 Lakes, so I think it came second there. Right. Let me think. What else was there? History. Oh yeah, that's another one. 1986, before this car retired, it did have another race at Monte Carlo where it got a podium, and it was only 3rd place. So it was only 3rd place, but they were really pushing. They were really pushing. However, then comes that fateful day at the Rally de Portugal where 3 spectators were killed and 30, was it 30 or 30-ish, were injured after one of the RS200s, so that's a Ford, actually, I think it sort of went flying into the crowd or something. And shortly after that, Audi decided to, you know, can it? It wasn't worth the risk. You know, there was a lot of injuries. It wasn't worth the risk, and very shortly, actually, I think everyone pulled out and Group B racing was banned. This did actually also go to Pikes Peak for a hill climb, but not this particular version. It was a very upgraded version and did win over there. So this car does have some pretty good sporting heritage. It just failed to deliver just at the top, very top. Not through any fault of Audi's own. I'm sure if they continued through that season and, you know, that accident hadn't happened, this car would have been fighting all the way till the end. Again, struggling with a bit of understeer. So really, this Quattro, it was only around for 5 years, 1981 to 1986, and it went through 3 variations, the Quattro, and then up to this Evolution 2, and it just, you know, it just still holds that special place in a lot of people's hearts because it's just such a wonderful car. I'll be honest, I really like this Audi Quattro myself. It's really great to drive, and I've driven this in here and I've driven this in Dirt Rally as well. So in Dirt Rally it's really, really great to drive, and in Assetto Corsa I'm really glad it's here and it's really great to drive. So bringing us swiftly onto what it's like to drive in Assetto Corsa. Modelling looks great. Texturing, once again, I've got to say I'm disappointed. The bonnet of this is very, very noticeable. It's not very well textured. It's quite low resolution, and that's very noticeable. So Kunos, come on, get your act together on that. That's the second car. That was that one Porsche, and now this. That is not brilliantly textured. That's not acceptable, especially for those people who like to race in bonnet view or hood view. Of course, you can't see it from here, but you can see it when you're in a different view. Sounds, incredible sounds. You got the butterfly of the turbo. The butterfly of the turbo sounds incredible. You can tell it's a 5-cylinder engine. It sounds quite authentic. Exhaust notes at the back. Maybe it could be a bit more louder, but nevertheless, it is very, very, or at least in my experience, it sounds fairly accurate. I do like the off throttle, the fact that you got the turbo still spinning and you can hear that constant popping. There you go, you can hear that constant popping. That's because the turbo is spinning to prevent turbo lag. So that moves us quickly onto the physics of the car. This car does have turbo lag, no doubt. As I jump it, it does have turbo lag, and that's a problem. Even though they do have fuel constantly going through the turbo, to try and get some of that turbo lag fixed. Nevertheless, it's a great car to drive. Just watch out for the understeer, otherwise the car is very, very good to drive. It does feel a little bit over the bumps. It does feel very light on the front, but otherwise it still has that heaviness on the front. As you can see, it still has that heaviness on the front, but when you throw it into corners and get it all right, incredible car to drive. Very, very stable. It corners incredibly flat, so that's another good thing. It doesn't have much roll to it, and the gears do shift through quite nicely. Heel and toe, very easy on it. In fact, shifting gears without it still does jump through quite well because of the amount of torque it has. It's not too overpowering, and of course, like I said, just keep it out of the low revs, because at the low revs that turbo lag does give it a bit of a knock. So unfortunately, it's not brilliant at the low revs. Medium to high revs, I think anything above 3,000 RPM is its ideal range. It really does quite enjoy it there. So that brings me to the end. So how am I going to review this car? 9. I'm going to give this car a 9 out of 10. So yeah, so taking a little bit off for the textures, but that's about it. Good car, well worth trying out, and I think it'll be quite enjoyable with some proper rally tracks. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to my channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch for more videos on Twitch of Assetto Corsa, and do leave a comment in any comments box or send me a message or all that kind of thing, and do support me on Patreon. Links to that is in the description box below. I would really, really appreciate your support. Next episode coming up, review of this fantastic Highlands area, which I'm actually quite liking, but there's a few things I don't like so much about it, so I guess you guys are gonna have to wait for that. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys then.